separately.
Councilmember Chairman?
Yes. Mr. Heckey, according to this, we have $4,000, $4,010 that's unallocated for this year in this fund.
If you add the $1,500 back in, is what you're
Exactly.
saying.
Correct.
So we have enough money for this year. Are they asking us right now to give approval to both the $1,500 and the $3,500?
No, it's my understanding they're just asking for the early release. I believe that
Okay.
their hope is that there will be, their hope is that the balance will be there.
Thank you for the
next year.
clarification. That's all I have.
We told them there's no guarantee until that budget is approved.
What confused me is you use the term advance, and to me that means that you're just expecting to get the monies. When you say advance, oh, we'll advance you $1,500, it kind of gives the idea that the rest of the money is going to be coming, or that money is expected to be there. That's why we're giving you an advance on it. So,
Mr. Mayor, if I'm understanding here, we all have the money. We're not going to next year's budget, right? You just made that statement. So we already had the 1,500, so we're not going to next year's budget. So when next year come, we have to come in, and we come in, we have to ask for the 15 to 3,500, right? So
Well, the issue is that various organizations requested money to help them with their events.
I understand.
Your organization asked to have $5,000 from the redevelopment agency to assist you with your event that was held August, September, for the fiscal year 08-09. What you're asking for now is an additional $1,500, and you know, whether it's from this current fiscal year, what you want it for to come out of is the $5,000 that you will be asking us to do for fiscal year 9-10. My comment was, and I'm hearing from other members of the council, is we may not have $5,000 that we can designate to Lambtown, Mayfair Parade, 4th of July Festival, the Wine Stroll, the Tree Lighting Festival, and all of those different community groups that we give redevelopment agency money to. So the concern is it a good business practice to advance a particular group
Okay.
money that would more than likely be budgeted for next year, as opposed to what is currently in our budget allotment? What is not used is then becomes the beginning balance of January or July 1. So if, for example, your funding was not approved, $4,000 then would be the beginning balance for Fund 510 for budgeting purposes. Or if it is approved, then the beginning balance for Fund 510 would be $2,510. I'm just trying to, I know it's, it's dollars and that sort of thing in budgets, but that's what we need to look at.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, if I could, when we wrote the letter, the request was for the 2009, 2000.
Excuse me, Mr. Scholl, if you'll wait to be called.
I'm vice chairman of the committee, so I'm actually part
All
of
right.
it.
I'm sorry, he is vice president. Excuse me. When we made the request, we were actually trying to get on early, because usually we bring in our requests at the very last minute in June when you're already working on the budget. So our request was for the 2009-2010 fiscal year for that event. If, due to the economic times, which we're, obviously all very familiar with, if it would make a difference, I would be happy to resubmit my request, asking for the $1,500 out of this year's fund. We had avoided doing that because we felt that might be seen as unfair when some of the other events only got $5,000 or $2,500, and we realize that's more than the $5,000 that we initially had asked for. And then we could come back and during the budget discussions for 2009, 2010 and ask for the $3,500, if that would be more appropriate or easier.
Well, I don't know if it's more
manage.
appropriate or not. It's still precedent setting, regardless of how you do it, Whether, let's say, the Mayfair Parade, had expended $5,000 for their parade and they needed another $1,500. Is it appropriate for them to come back and do that? And that's the fundamental question that has to be now. And it's
As I
not
understand-
just Lambtown, it's any organization.
And there's three. So if all of you came back and said, okay, we'll give you the $1,500, and Mayfair goes, well, the Mayfair Parade goes, well, we also need $1,500, and the 4th of July Festival comes and says, well, we could use $1,500 too. We don't have enough money left to give all of them $1,500. That's kind of my concern.
You have a unusual circumstance here in as much as
We have the money.
they
We have
had the
we
money,
just
but it's being
can't.
held hostage to hold your place out there at the Mayfair.
Exactly.
Well, I wouldn't say it's being held hostage,
It
but then,
is.
you know.
It is. There
That's a
are-
business practice, I
cop
guess,
term.
you know, maybe that, you know, I guess.
Snuck in
You know, it's a
somewhere.
matter of semantics, you know, it's just, you know. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, in the past, the deposit was not required from the Mayfair until 2 weeks prior to the event. And so we were always able, by receiving funds in June, which we were always pushing for, able to make our deposit before our July date. What happened this year was when we asked for our deposit back so we could pay off the remainder of our invoices, we were told that we could not hold a date at all. They would not hold a date until they had a deposit. And if we didn't reserve a date, they were going to go ahead and book first come, first served to anybody that brought in their deposit, all of the dates. There are no dates left. So that was the unusual circumstance that you're.
Well, and this is kind of deja vu. You know, this goes back to a couple of years ago when I first got on council, and the administration, if you will, or the leadership of the Lambtown changed. And so there was some question whether Lambtown was going to go downtown, or I'm sorry, go to the fairgrounds, or whether it was not going to go. Long story short, it was held in the park. This is kind of another deja vu thing. But anyway, Mr. Scholl, did you have something?
Yes, I did. Mr. Mayor, council members, staff. I want to make a couple points. One is that the committee, while it's, you refer to us as them or the Mayfair Parade or whatever, these are organizations where the people's put in hundreds of hours to promote the community. Nobody in the organization gets paid. In fact, this last year we ran a deficit. The members of the board made up that deficit. Same with the Mayfair. The amounts that you're talking about for the entire budget for community promotion is less than some cases where you have recently spent money that you really didn't have to. You need to stop and think about your priorities. Are you spending money out of stubbornness in some areas and ignoring things that promote the community? $1,500 is not much, $5,000 is not much. There is the issue of precedence, but I would also like to ask that if you know of anybody who can be a sponsor to the organization, let us know so we can approach them. That was the biggest problem this last year with the economic downturn. There are a lot of organizations and businesses that did not sponsor who have in the past. So we'll be needing some help with that. If there's some way you can promote it in the newsletter, the website, or whatever, I would urge you to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open it up for some public comment at this point. So, is there anybody? One quickly, Mr. Harris.
This is an unusual situation.
We
We're not
understand.
here because of being happy. This is an unusual situation, so
Okay,
remember
all
that.
right. Thank you, Mr. Harris.